Hey everybody, welcome to Let's Look at Pressure. No, this is not half of the famous Queen and David Bowie song. Quite frankly, I would take either half of those over what is a combat-styled racing game that, maybe with that opening comment, I gave you the impression that this is total garbage. That is not totally fair. This is a game that actually surprised me with how playable it is. I wouldn't necessarily say it is a fantastic game, but it's available for $10 on Steam. It has noteworthy faults, which I'm definitely going to point out, but at the same time, it is a little bit better than I expected. So, you know, stay tuned if you want the more robust, balanced opinion of how things go. That is more the byline that I've just said there. One thing I want to point out as we get into Pressure here is that there is a multiplayer mode, and we can play either campaign or free play. However, for some reason, the online capabilities are not unlocked for me, which is a little bit weird for me. By the way, that menu music gets super annoying as I've been sitting here for like 10 minutes getting Fraps set up. But in any case, I don't know if I've got to be the right Thaden level or something to get that online mode not grayed out, but as is, there is local and LAN multiplayer. Maybe online is coming later, but that's disappointing considering I don't have two Xbox 360 controllers and I don't want to play a racing game on my PC with the arrow keys. And I don't have anybody who would play this with me. Single tear rolling down my cheek right now. But in any case, let's get started here. I'm going to go into the campaign. I've been playing this for about half an hour to 40 minutes so far, which is definitely more than enough time to kind of get a feel for what is going on here in Pressure. So basically, there's a story mode going on in Pressure here, but it's a very loosely held together story mode. Think of something like A Virus Named Tom. Not to say A Virus Named Tom is a bad story, but where it's told through vignettes. So there will be like a cutscene at the start in which our hero, who is the, you know, goggle-adorned child sitting here on the Chesterfield, he had all of the water in his lake or his swimming pool stolen from him by a spa, and he's trying to earn enough money, I guess, to kind of go to that spa and fight a final boss, get his water back. Before we get involved here, I should point out that we do have money, and we can use this money to upgrade our buggy as we see fit. The buggy is what we are going to be using. I should equip this. Did I not already buy it? I thought I bought it. Okay, we'll equip it here. Yeah, we can buy things for our buggy. The buggy is basically like our Mario Kart style vehicle. This is a combat racer, so it's not just about getting to the end as quickly as possible. It is also about destroying as many enemies as you can along the way, and I will explain as we get involved here why it is called Pressure indeed. But in any case, let us go to the map, which is how we get to the next level, and I totally beat that level, I thought, but maybe not. Let's do like an early level, maybe even level 1, just so I can... Oh, can I not go back and play levels that I've already beaten? I suppose not. That is a little bit of a disappointment, actually, especially if you're looking to score attack. I'll look into that in a second later, because that was super weird. It's unbelievably strange for me, because this game gives you like a Rock Band style kind of like score after you finish. So to not be able to like redo levels would be a seriously damning criticism, I feel. In any case, this is Pressure right here. Most important thing, I mean, you know, watch me shoot some cars and blow them up here, but also pay attention to those two gauges on the top left of the screen. In particular, you can see the green one, that is my health, which will go down as I am hit. But there's also my pressure, and now pressure, I wish they did a very good job, or a better job, I should say, explaining what the fuck is going on with that, because to a certain extent, I've spent a lot of my time with the game so far confused, and I've been learning about it through tool tips that show up occasionally during loading screens, which is, you know, in a certain way unacceptable, I feel. There should at least be like one tutorial race or something. But in any case, pressure is basically, it's not accurate to call it health, it's not accurate to call it fuel, but it does go down as we get hit, and it also goes down as we slow down. So you want to always make sure that you're going as fast as is possible, because if you start going slowly, like if you get turned around or you have to, you know, you run into an obstacle that slows you down, your pressure will drop, and if your pressure drops, you can't drive and you lose. Oh god, oh god, go! So it's not necessarily just about, you know, getting to the exit and not dying. It's about getting to the exit as quickly as you can so your pressure doesn't run out as well. You get refills on your pressure from killing enemies, as you'll see as we move. Oh, I'm dead. I'm not dead, I'm just hurt a lot. Okay, let's go back the other direction. You can see my pressure dropping there in that white meter. Let's try to take out this enemy. I'll explain what the heck is going on. Basically, using the Xbox 360 controller here, but, you know, it's probably unfair to say that it doesn't control well on the PC. I haven't actually played it using the PC controllers myself. Or, sorry, the PC keyboard and mouse myself. I didn't mean that. But it's a very simplistic racing game. You know, we're not playing like Project Cars here. You're not going to need a track IR and a foot pedal and steering wheel setup in order to make things happen. Basically, you just have like accelerate, brake, oh man, just make it to the checkpoint. We get more pressure when we get to the checkpoints as well. we get more pressure when we kill enemies, which is what those like white power-ups that you can see me getting now and then are. High damage and low pressure, so I am probably going to lose here, which is why I wanted to start on an earlier level game to explain the basic premises of what's going on here. We are about to cross a checkpoint, though. But yes, again, going over the very basic controls, that should give us enough pressure to at least survive long enough for me to explain that. Accelerate, brake, turning, obviously. We have a gun, which we can just auto-fire by holding down the A button. That gun can be changed. Right now, we're using a blunderbuss, which is, you know, this year's en vogue term for the shotgun. Also saw the blunderbuss in the showdown effect, and maybe in Bioshock Infinite. I don't know. I haven't played it yet. But it looks like the kind of game that would have something like that. Additionally, we have a secondary weapon. I haven't used all that much, but these are homing missiles, which I am firing with B. And we have this dash that I can use now and then, which I am firing with X. And this actually allows us to do damage because we can get a... Oh, that was kind of close. We can get a RAM, and we can upgrade our RAM. And what this will allow... Upgrade our RAM, not in the PC sense, obviously. But by upgrading our RAM, not only does it make the game run faster, but it also allows us to kill enemies much more quickly as well. Now, all I'm trying to do here is get to the end. You know, weapons, both secondary and primary have a cooldown, as does our dash. So basically, you spend the game just holding the acceleration down, holding your primary weapon down, and occasionally tapping the B button, or whatever it is on the keyboard, to get to the exit. I'm hoping I'm not going to explode here. That was by far the closest run I've ever had with respect to almost dying. But we can see how we did here. So I finished 4-star time. I believe 4 stars might even be the max. Please don't... Okay, only 2 stars on coins collected. And we get a score. Our overall rating is 3 stars. Nice and clean. I've never done any better than that. And we actually did get some kind of achievement unlocked. And that is basically... You've witnessed one cycle in pressure, shall we call it. You race, you come back here. Now I have more gold, or more, whatever they're going to call it, whatever the currency in this game is. And I can spend it on things. I can upgrade my weapons to, you know, 1, 2, or 3 stars. I can just buy this flamethrower. I'm going to try to upgrade my blunderbuss, though, so I'm going to wait. We could buy more secondary weapons. For example, we could buy this Tesla gun, or magnetizer. Quickly attracts the enemy to you, so you can destroy them with one hit. Hey, being attractive is important. Ain't that the truth? We can upgrade our RAM, and that's about it for now. So I'm going to focus on upgrading my RAM to get to the higher, or get to a better situation, I guess, here. What I could do, I suppose, is actually come back here and maybe, like, sell... Yeah, I could sell the Spitting Mary 3 and sell all of these upgrades. That might give me enough to actually be able to upgrade it again. Barely, but it did give me enough. Okay, so now we have a second level new RAM on this one, which is good because I wasn't using that machine gun anyway. So I don't know how much more of this we're gonna play. We might as well do one more level here. I don't know how many levels are in the game either, but it's the kind of thing where my gut reaction is that you're probably gonna be sick of playing it before you actually get to the end, unless it ends in like 6 levels or something like that, or 6 levels past where I am right now. Because as is, my major complaint about the game is that it is super repetitive, and the lack of an online multiplayer mode is a little bit damning. But at the same time, you know, it's not fair for me to just come at this game and be like, oh, you know, it doesn't have an online multiplayer mode, and that's an objective negative. Because a lot of these games, you know, something like Death Rally, for example, which is very similar to this, you know, had an online multiplayer mode, but nobody was playing it. So that just having online multiplayer doesn't necessarily guarantee it any kind of, I guess, utility. You still have to get the community necessary to make it work. But in any case, it is unfortunate that it doesn't have online multiplayer, because I was looking forward to checking out some of those elements. Because as is, you know, it doesn't really seem like it offers that much depth. I've failed levels a couple of times and had to redo them. But I wish the pressure mechanic was a little bit more clear. I've talked a little bit about negatives, but I do have I wouldn't necessarily say a positive opinion overall. This guy sucks our pressure out, by the way. He's the most annoying enemy I've encountered so far. Yeah, there is a good variety in terms of enemies as well. Like, there's different enemy types. Some of them are obviously much stronger than others, and, you know, it so far hasn't gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, that's a really innovative enemy design. But, again, that's not altogether necessary all the time either. What was I going to say? Okay, so I was going to say, you know, to be fair to the game, I wouldn't necessarily say I have an overall positive impression of the game, but it is better than I expected, given that, I don't know how long it's been since I played a good kind of indie, or at least, you know, primarily distributed through digital downloads racing game, because obviously that indie mainstream line is getting fuzzy these days. You know, Death Rally was something that I thought was kind of absolute garbage. Bang Bang Racing was so broken at launch it didn't even work for me. It's been a while since I played a racing game on PC, apart from something like, I guess, Trackmania. I should say an arcade racer, I suppose. It's been a while since I played an arcade racer on PC that I actually sort of enjoyed, so Even though I don't see myself spending much time with this after doing this video, which will leave me at like an hour of total playtime, it's not quite as bad as it might seem or look, if that makes sense. Please don't take that as my recommendation for if you are a racing fan and you have $10 to spend on a video game to pick this up, because I think there's much better things you could pick up with your money, especially, you know, in my opinion right now, in a very biased way, is if you're into kind of a zany arcade racer, pick up Trackmania, which has a very robust online community, is available on Steam for only $5 more, looks much better, is substantially deeper and just more fun in general, basically. That being said, this is not total garbage. And the fact that they at least tried to put in a story, despite the fact that it's superficial, I think is a positive element, because again, a lot of games like Death Rally, again, not to constantly shit on Death Rally, which was like a port of a 10-year-old or 15-year-old PC game by and of itself, but, you know, I think this is a preferable choice to that, shall we say. Although that did have online multiplayer. In any case, this is a much easier level, unless some kind of boss mob comes at the end. There have been levels that are... They seem like they're designated as kind of special levels or boss fights, but I've never really encountered any kind of boss within them, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna keep trying to move as fast as I can. I'm not really employing any kind of strategy here, but I still seem to be doing fairly well for myself. Game's pretty easy. I actually find that this game cramps up my hand a little bit, because I'm constantly holding down the A button and then hitting X and B whenever possible. Creates a little bit of uncomfortableness. But again, that is another level well done. Maybe we'll do one more race here. Did alright on coins, one away from the beautiful coin collection, but hey, I should have 4 stars on this one. Yeah, that's the first time I've ever gotten 4 stars on a level as opposed to 3. So why don't we do one more race just to see if things change absolutely drastically. Another thing I do enjoy about this game, I will admit, is that it has very rapid progression. You move through the game exceptionally quickly. And I might as well upgrade my RAM, I guess, to the 3rd level, because there's nothing else I can really buy right now. But yeah, but basically after every single race, you'll be able to buy something that will make your next race, make you a little bit more powerful for your next race, I should say. By the way, this bistro here, this guy just talks to us. Customer satisfaction is my priority numero uno, if the customer survives, that is. Good to know. I like that the button says good to know. I went to the wrong area here. By the way, I think graphically it looks kind of sharp, actually. Maybe not good, but again, a little bit not better on a technical level than I expected, but more artistic than I expected, shall we say. A while back, I owned a car wash for buggies, then there was no more water, shucks. I like that the button, what I was gonna say, is just says good to know, as if, like, you were getting into an awkward conversation with some guy and you're just like, huh, alright, good to know. I mean, this bistro button is basically just like a joke button, which is not very funny. Again, I can't believe that this game would make it so you can't re-race. Like, but to me, it looks like I can't go back, which is absolutely goddamn insane. But in any case, I guess we'll just continue going on here, and we're gonna surf the pipe, which sounds a little bit dirty, honestly. Again, the only tutorialization this game has is, basically picking up pressure, or, picking up, information about pressure from the tooltips on the loading screens, which baffles me. Mostly my problems with games typically boil down to too much tutorialization is a big one that shows up often. In this game, too little. Absolutely. I wonder if I can, get up to the edge here. I can indeed. And I can just hang out in front of this guy. My pressure is dropping, and I don't know why. Maybe I gotta kill some enemies. Again, I hate that it's so obtuse. Maybe if I go into the settings menu, there will be some kind of tutorial, but at some point, that shouldn't be the player's job. By the way, there are multiple difficulty levels. I am playing on normal, because that is, you know, kind of expected, I think. And I could probably crank up the difficulty to hard or something. People always make the argument when I say a game's too easy on normal. They're like, just crank up the difficulty to hard. I mean, yes, that's a valid course of action, but that doesn't necessarily excuse the game for having a normal mode that's too easy, if that makes sense. Like, it shouldn't necessarily be the player's job to have to tailor the difficulty of every single game to themselves manually. You know, that's why I like a game like The Witcher, which puts you through, or The Witcher 2, I should say, which puts you through, like, that trial at the start of the game, and based on your performance during that, it's like, we suggest that you go on this mode. Like, I think that's a really smart way of handling things. I'm not sure if The Witcher 2 Vanilla had that, but the extended edition, at least the one I played on 360, did. Anyway, this is not about The Witcher, we're talking about pressure. And the pressure mechanic, I guess it's sort of cool, but at the same time, like, health has become a very secondary kind of metric in this sense, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I kind of feel like we should just have one or the other. Like, if this just had pressure, it might be more interesting, but I'm not a game designer. I'm just explaining how it comes across here as I play it personally. I'm not necessarily here to offer solutions, just here to offer feedback. Again, the online multiplayer thing confuses the shit out of me as well. I'm not sure if that's going to be added at a later date. My general nature is to be very skeptical when games say, well, we're going to launch with this, but later we're going to put in this highly critical feature. Because I don't think it always works out like that. Once the game is out, oftentimes I kind of feel like, you know, the pressure's off a little bit, and, you know, probably 75 to 80% of the game's lifetime sales in most cases are done within the first month or so, the first 6 weeks maybe. Again, I don't have data to back that up, I'm just bullshitting here, but that strikes me as, you know, there not being that much incentive to kind of fulfill your promise, if that makes sense. Maybe that's unfair, that's just my initial thought. If it's not in the game, I wouldn't buy it under the pretense that it will show up in the game later. I think that's unfair for developers to kind of expect players to do. We're going to finish this race reasonably shortly. Each one appears to be, you know, 3 to 4 minutes in length at most. There have been some that have been a little bit shorter, kind of the opening levels. Not tutorials, because they don't really tutorialize much, but at least familiarizing you, giving you a playground to familiarize yourself with the concepts. We are about to cross the second to last checkpoint, and again, just holding A and driving, man. The enemies hit me. As far as I know, there's really no way to kind of get around this and dodge more effectively. You can buy better defenses by upgrading your buggy, but that's about it. So it's pretty much just, as much as it might look like I'm making an effort to destroy these enemies, mostly I'm just holding down the A button, most of the time anyway. Sometimes I forget to hold down the A button. And enemies that get in my way die, enemies that don't get in my way, oftentimes will just be allowed to live unless I tap the B button, and they're unlikely enough to be hit by a homing torpedo. By the way, something about this game also has a tendency, you know, I'm kind of the motion sickness YouTuber, I suppose, at this point. But maybe the fact that the game goes in so tight on you with the camera, it gives me a little bit of motion sickness as things whip around a little bit, so I find that a little bit disappointing, but it's not like I'm hungover or anything today, so I can deal with it. See if we get another 4-star rating here. Looks pretty good so far. Alright, apparently I'm the most amazing player of Pressure ever. But anyway, this is my Let's Look At of Pressure. We can go back to the main menu here, and maybe you can see something you like. Can we see the tutorial? That's the tutorial. That's how to play. Oh, okay, we're continuing on here. You must prevent the Count from making his nasty plans a reality. To do this, you need to get to the end of the level as fast as possible and before pressure runs out. The white bar indicates how much pressure you have in your buggy. When pressure is consumed, the buggy stops and you're forced to start the level over. Okay. Blasting and boosting does not cost additional pressure. Blasting and boosting, the Northernlion story. That's it! Okay, so I guess I understand all the mechanics. There's leaderboards, there's settings, and there's local and LAN multiplayer. Oh, now I've unlocked online multiplayer, I suppose. Maybe you just have to beat, like, level 6 or something like that. Yeah, join a game. Waiting on it. Maybe free play, there will be someone? Yeah, Northernlion, that's certainly my name. Refreshing hosts here. Oh, okay, to be fair, this is what I said earlier. Just because you have online multiplayer doesn't necessarily mean the online multiplayer is good, because there have to be people actually playing it. But, you know, it does exist, so if you and your friend want to get together and play a game of this, I guess that opportunity does exist. I have no idea how that works, because I have, you know, no way to kind of check out the multiplayer. But in any case, this is Pressure. $10 available now on Steam. I do not recommend it, but at the same time, it's not the worst purchase you can make on Steam. In fact, if you're into arcade racers, from the top-down sense especially, this is the best of a bad decision, basically, between Bang Bang Racing and Death Rally. That being said, for people who are just kind of in it, or interested in it on like a fringe level, maybe they're not that into the genre, they just kind of liked what they saw from screenshots or trailers or something like that, I'd encourage you to, you know, give it a try before you buy it, assuming there is a demo available somewhere. Otherwise, maybe wait for a sale, or skip it altogether, because this is not a completely engaging experience, and if you're hoping to get some online wacky racing done, it looks like I would be skeptical of that coming to fruition based on the kind of activity in the online servers right now. But in any case, again, thank you guys for watching. There will be a link in the video description to check this out on the store page on Steam if you're interested. For the last time, thank you for watching. Stay out of my rose bushes, and I will see you next time.